Hello, my name is Lowell, pronouns he, him, and this is our second session. If we count one as a session 0, this is our second session of Apocalypse Keys by Rae Nedjadi. This is us working through our first mystery. The First Door is the title of that mystery, and we're deep into that today. At the start here, you're going to hear me talk a little meta for those of you who are GMing Apocalypse Keys are curious about how it runs. We're going to want to talk about this a little bit to start today. So one of the things is we have a mystery map, and I'm going to come back to talk about what the clues are that we have on the table in a bit. But I want to point us to that. So this is a case that has a difficulty of 2. And what that means is we take however many keys, I'm going to use the word keys and clues kind of interchangeably. We take however many keys people have gotten and connected up to the mystery, take that number, we subtract the difficulty from that, and that is the value that the players will roll with for the sort of solving the mystery, the opening Doom's door kind of solution there. And what we'll do in that process is, once we get to that point, we'll kind of walk through what the clues are, and there'll be some attaching of those and going through what they mean. May not be that you use all of those clues, but it may be that you will. So what we have right now on the table is we've got 3 clues, 2 from Beelzebub, 1 from Vane, which means that we're probably looking at 2 or 3 more clues. Ideally in play, and you may see me lean into this, I want to make sure that both Samson and Cetus get a chance to do that, so they can walk through that process, they can see how it works, and we can get their names on the list. In a standard mystery, it'd be a higher complexity, and so we might have an uneven number of people who have provided different clues, and that's fine. And but today I want to kind of make sure that we get to that, so people have a chance to see how that process works. And I'm going to go through what has happened, where we got the clues, where we are. One of the things I want to do at the start here is kind of frame up a chance for the players, characters to interact with one another here, like call a scene here as we kind of set that up. Because there are only 2 or 3 clues left, we may get done faster or not, but we'll see. We've got some chance for RP within that. One of the things is I did check, nobody has a start of session move explicitly for their playbook, but you all do have that question that appears on everybody's playbook, which is the XP question. Where is that at? I always have to find out where it is. Hubris. At the start of every session, choose 1 question to explore during play. So I'd like you all to take a look through that and make your pick for which of the questions from your drop down you would like to pick today. And
say again where that is.
Oh, sure. If you look, you've got your look, and this is in the farthest column, your origin. And then,
I see it. I see
just
it.
below that should be at the start of every session.
Okay, got it. Okay.
So I'm going to check in with everybody about what that is, so that I have that in mind a little bit, and so that you do. Stephen, what do you think you want to pick for Samson for this week?
This week I picked, did you give in to an unseemly, improper, or indiscreet desire of your heart?
Ooh, nice. And Jesse?
Yeah, so I'm sticking with did you give into your hunger at the worst possible moment? If yes, mark 1 XP. Okay. Because I didn't hit it last time and I want to.
All right. Fair enough. And then Kat?
So I was with Did you fight against the prophecy that haunts you? And I think I'm going to shift over to, did you fool yourself into thinking you were human and deny your prophecy?
Oh, that's a neat one. And Jose?
I think I'm going to go with did you use the emotions or memories of another to create a cruel advantage?
Ooh. Okay. So let's talk about what the mission is, what you've seen, where you are, what the clues are, and where they've come from here. So you were sent by Division to deal with a site at Division HQ 0001, essentially the first Division HQ or a first Division HQ that had been abandoned some time ago, had been abandoned after something went terribly wrong, forced out, and I believe Samson has some history with this place before the great big gates were shut. You have been sent as Omen class monsters to this location, which is kind of isolated magically, supernaturally. But what they have told you is that an Omen class monster named Vex, who is the voice of the Kraken, who is essentially a child of the Kraken, it's associated that way, who was a trainer for Division for a number of years, who saw a lot of people under their watch pass away and kind of put on training duty. They got into an altercation with another Omen class. This other Omen class is a little bit different. It is called Mr. Knock, and it seems to have been originally not powerful, attached to a person, and through some sort of experiment or process was made very powerful. And apparently there was a disagreement, conflict between Knock and Vex. Vex booted Knock out of the facility that they were at, and then also left. They went AWOL, and it was sometime later that the alarms went off here at Division 0001. That's considered particularly dangerous because there is an artifact of power called the First Door, which lies beneath this place. And why Vex has come here, why Knock has come here, what's going on, those are all questions that are uncertain. There's a belief that there is a possibility maybe one of them has become a harbinger. Maybe there's another force that's a harbinger. But there's definitely a thing of power which can be utilized to ascend to have a harbinger gain great power. If either of these subjects or both of these subjects have turned bad, they need to be dealt with. If it's another harbinger, it needs to be dealt with, and this location needs to be locked down. So those were the mission parameters. The group arrived on scene, and you were met by Angel Goramel, who some people did not have a positive viewpoint on. And Goramel, confirmed some briefing, answered some other questions, and then took you inside. It was at that point that you investigated some of the first areas, got a sense of that people had been locked in here, that they had died. Goramel led you through the facility a ways and then downwards, at which point you were attacked by these amorphous figures that were things that had been transformed by the force of the last door, or the first door, within this facility. You were able to read some of the deaths on them, the fact that these things couldn't die, the first door wasn't letting them die, that it was keeping them on. Goramel tried to excuse himself, at that point, and somebody had a conversation with him, and Gormel has stayed around at this point. Perhaps his own little greedy desires having been sparked by somebody, that may have happened. There was some more exploration. You discovered a number of clues, and you met a person called the Professor. This is a lab technician, experiment person, kind of patches and discolorations on their lab coat, markings all over their hands, where they've kind of tried to keep track of things, weird lenses and goggles. They mentioned a friend of theirs that is also in the facility that they were worried about, named Abraham. Who they are, you're not entirely sure. You haven't really asked them about Vex or Knock yet. But you did find some weird experimental stuff in the lab, which we'll come back to in a second. The other important thing to think about the professor is dead and has died several times and been brought back. And that there are multiple sort of after images that the professor leaves behind as she kind of moves, that not sure whether they're shifted in time or shifted in reality. They look a little bit different, but they do kind of mirror and echo her. I think those are the big details. I'll come back to see if there's anything that I left out that's crucial, but let's look at the 3 clues that we found. Number one was that weird, twisted, reworked song that Beelzebub heard when you all descended down in here. The second was Vane discovering a dollhouse from this young woman Bella's childhood. You know that Bella is attached to Knock. I think the age that Garmel could identify as that Bella is young teens. But this dollhouse and this stuff has been here for a very long time. Though it has been told, but I think surprisingly very unreadable. This folder that is labeled Beelzebub, which Beelzebub says it had instructions on how to kill him. That's the short version, but it's very hard to read now for some reason. So that's sort of the big set of things. We're kind of at that lab. The professor is still with you. You've kind of talked about taking the professor along with you through here. So the focus of play today is interactions, looking around more. There are both the question of clues, these keys, but there's also finding stuff out to help you build a context to what's going on. What are the details? What do we know? What can we piece that'll help us when we go to build the picture, that kind of thing. So that's the kind of cycle that we're going through. Did I miss any really key information there? Okay. Sometimes I leave it out deliberately. Sometimes I don't. So that's the thing. So I want to begin. One of the things that was asked about last time was having a chance to do some character interactions between some people here in this moment. So let's start with Cetus. Oh no, actually, let me start with Samson. Now that I think about it, Samson, what has caught your attention in this lab? Is this a place that you had been down to before? Is this a place that you avoided when you were set here? Like what is different or familiar or striking you?
I think I wasn't allowed to come into this lab before. And what's striking me is the professor themselves, because I'm fascinated that there's someone else who is dead, or who has been dead, that death is spoken to, but everyone else can talk to them as well. I can normally talk to the dead, but no one else really sees them or anything like that. But it seems like the professor's interacting with everyone like everything's normal, and I kind of like to explore that.
Do you want
So I
to
think,
do a scene with them for a minute to talk to them?
well, I mean, part of my fascination is I'd like to do a scene with them and someone else,
Okay.
like maybe Vane,
Okay.
in that, I want to interact with them and see how they're talking and how that all works. So
Okay.
I think that I pull them kind of off to the side. Vane, are you examining something in the room, or what do you think you're doing right now?
I'm examining the remains of the smashed dollhouse with great satisfaction, I believe.
Yeah. And I think I walk over with the professor and, lean down and, look at it and say, well, I hope there wasn't anything important in there.
I'm sure there wasn't.
Well, actually, there might have been. Now, mind you, that's a different department than me. Wasn't I? Kind of looks at her hands. It wasn't what I was working on, but I expected they put that amount of time into it. It probably mattered, unless it came this way. Was it already this way when you got here?
You know,
Ah,
Who is the person whose project this is still around? Can we speak to them?
no, I don't. I don't think. I think I'm the only. I think I'm the only researcher left.
Well, you
No,
mentioned,
at least no one's taken my stuff. That's usually a sign that somebody else is in the lab, is when I go there and someone else has taken it. But
you
I'm
mentioned someone
thinking,
else who was here earlier, like Abraham.
yeah, Abraham. Yes, yes. He. It's been a while, and he'll point at the dollhouse. I don't think this was his. He
Okay.
doesn't do that kind of thing. He's a monster. So
Well,
yeah.
we might be monsters too, so
Oh no, I know you
that's
are.
fine. Yeah,
You're monsters.
yeah. So, um, so you're dead, right?
No, no.
Okay.
I have died, but I'm not dead. I think there's a distinction. They're like, now, mind you, that's a whole nomenclature thing. We could get into the syntax of that, but I don't think we necessarily need to. But that is that.
And
Should we pick this up off the floor, or do we need to leave it here on the floor, do you think?
do you want to pick it up off the floor?
It it's just, I'm afraid I might step on it.
You might.
and
Is
we
that-
might.
We
is,
might.
Is that okay?
What's the worst thing that could happen if you stepped on it?
I can imagine a lot of bad things. But I don't
So,
know if it's
Professor,
this.
so Professor, what are you working on so that we don't accidentally drop it?
Well, I have a lot of things in the hopper right now. I have to check my notes.
But that isn't anything that we could, like, nothing in this room we could accidentally drop or destroy, right?
Well, that's my desk over there, and she'll point at the table that you first saw her at. So please don't break anything that's over there.
I'm just going to wander over to that desk to see what's on it.
Fragile glass, beakers, a tiny glass unicorn, and Samson she said, "Do you mind if I follow them?"
That's probably a good idea.
Okay.
As we head in that direction, I'm like, well, what makes you different from the other researchers? Why did you die and you're still here if they've gone?
I don't know. Like, that's a really interesting, like, I don't know how testable it is, but that's a really interesting line of inquiry.
Do you think you might have some notes somewhere on that?
I'd have to look. And she'll open up a notebook,
Oh,
and it's on the table. And I want you to imagine that this is a notebook that's been here for 40 years, and someone has, with various pencils, markers, pens, has written notes, and then written over those notes, and then written over those notes, and then written over those notes until the pages are almost illegible with how dark they are. It's in here somewhere, I'm sure. Let me cut from you two. Beelzebub, you're kind of looking around, probably still, pondering a little bit about these notes for your destruction. You see Vane and Samson conversing with the professor. Cetus, where are you as this is going on, just so we can kind of frame up that?
I think Cetus, as Vane and Samson walk off with the professor, Cetus goes to the remains of the dollhouse and is kind of crouched down next to them.
Okay. So Beelzebub, what are you doing?
I mean, I think I'll follow Cetus over to the dollhouse. Take in that wonderful smell, and say, you think there's something worth looking at here?
It feels like it's impregnated with memories.
It's gonna give birth to baby memories?
Maybe, if I can be a midwife to it. And he's like fondling like little, like maybe a little dining table and a little pieces of furniture, pulling them out of the dollhouse and kind of looking at them with one eye.
Let me ask you this, Cetus. In amongst this dollhouse furniture for the childhood of this, what's the thing that either grabs your attention as is interesting or as disturbing?
Hmm.
Yes, or both.
I think there's actually tiny paintings, or a tiny painting that looks like a tiny miniature of a real life painting. It looks like if you had a microscope and you could look at it carefully, it would be a full-fledged painting. And so Cetus is intrigued by the detail of the tiny of these tiny objects.
What's the painting? Is this Goya? Is this Picasso? Is this Bacon? Like what is it?
Dogs playing poker?
Dogs playing poker. I think it's going to be, let's make it be, what is it, Munch, the Scream?
Oh yeah, okay, yeah, that's perfect.
That's what I keep seeing for some reason.
Yeah.
Stolen, so maybe it's the original shrunk down.
Yes.
Could be the original.
And Beelzebub, what's your reaction to this sort of intense scrutiny of this and the take that Cetus has on this?
I mean, I think I lean in, and I say, didn't she say this used to belong to Bella?
Bella, yes. I think she did say that.
Certainly the files that you've seen next to this have Bella's name on it.
Mm-hmm. Do you want to take a closer look? Those, or maybe I'll go look at those files. Do you want to look at those files? What do you?
I
I'm
look
trying.
over-
Sorry, go ahead, please.
Go ahead.
I was gonna say, I'm like, I feel like there's an opportunity to grab a clue here,
Mhm.
a key, and I know that that was something we were like, you. I think Ray, have you
Yeah.
done that yet?
Yeah, I was hoping to grab a key.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's move to that as you
But before that happens, can I
Yeah.
do
Yeah.
something?
Yeah.
I think I look over your shoulder, Beelzebub, and Goromel's over there.
Hmm.
And I say to you, maybe under my breath, or maybe even telepathically, I say to you, yeah, telepathically for some intimacy. I say, I'm tired of the angel watching us. I thought he would be sweet, but he's fallen, so it's all bitterness and vanity. Can't we kill him now?
He smells too bitter to me.
Ugh, he's unpalatable.
I don't want to.
What if you
I'm
ate
hungry.
him?
I'm hungry, but I don't think he'd be very satisfying.
But if you ate him, then he'd come out changed on the other side, right? It could only be an improvement.
That's not how that works.
Oh, damn.
It changes me, not well, it wouldn't change him in the way you want, I don't think.
Disappointing. Well, I guess I can tolerate him for a little while longer. I'm sure you thought he was useful enough to lure him to stay around.
Oh, well, I was hoping he would walk into something and it would kill him instead of us, but look at me.
There's still hope. Now that I know your plan. And he winks at you.
Yeah, I don't say this, but I look at you like it wasn't very subtle.
So you taking any darkness tokens there, Cetus?
Oh, do I get? Oh, that's right. Thank
Are
you.
there any of those that apply to this interaction, do you think?
Let's see. My darkness tokens are when I feel frustration. I don't know. Ask someone to open their emotions to me. Not quite.
You tried to get a Beelzebub in on a plan to
And on a
there.
plan. Yes.
So I kind of think that there's a little bit of that maybe.
Yeah, and I think, by the way, I'm taking some darkness tokens because as that conversation sort of closed up, I just inhaled deeply of Cetus, and he smells so much better now.
Yeah.
So much more appealing, and I'm feeling a yearning for what I don't think I can have at this moment. Although
like
we'll
that.
see what happens.
All
So
right.
how many tokens do you want to take, Cetus?
How about I take? I'll take 3. So
Okay.
Get to 5. It's okay if I have 5 as long as I'm not. It's not after a move, right?
Exactly.
Okay.
And then as you're looking through these papers, as you're looking at this material, you want to grasp for a key. How many darkness tokens do you want to spend on that?
Oh, okay, great. Get them, spend them. That's the way it works.
Oh yeah.
Economy. Okay, so the move is grasping for keys, right? Okay,
Yeah.
I see it. Why don't I do 2?
Okay. Let's have you roll.
All right. So I do a +2. I need 2 dice. And it's an 8.
8. That is perfect. That is right in that sweet spot.
So what
You
happens?
kind of set this aside, and you've begun to look through the material here, the description of Bella. A lot of it is like daily life routines, like planning for that, educational goals, things like that. There's a lot of like bringing up baby kind of plans. But I think the thing that will strike you as you're looking through the back of it is that they mention a number of, and I'm going to probably say this wrong, oneromancy, dream magic stuff. And you realize as you're going through this that part of the plan here is that Bella is to be in the dream of some other force, and that will change them, that will do whatever they want. Like, that's incomplete. Like, what they want is not here, but that she's to be in there and then to be harvested from that dream.
Mm.
And boy, it sounds a lot like you. How do you react to that?
So just so I have it clear, that Bella would be introduced into
Like
yeah.
it's unclear whether she would be introduced or created or just be in, like you're not sure how it starts, but
Mhm.
that's part of the process. And then at some point the experiment would be to bring her out for
Mhm.
some purpose or some reason.
I think as I read that, I remember something. So I remember how we don't know how. So was she like? I remember. Let's just say like a young girl,
Mhm.
a teenage girl, um, uh, and I remember. I have a memory of meeting with her in a forest, touching her, and her falling apart into pieces, into leaves. That's what it is. Needles. That's what it is. Needles.
Cool.
And scattering into the wind. And I feel horrified by the dream.
Okay.
By the memory. I'm sorry.
Yeah. Let's come back to Vane. Uh, what are you up to at this point? Do you want to talk to somebody here? Do you think you want to press on? What is it that you want to do here?
Well, I'm feeling impatient mostly. And certainly the presence of the angel is not my favorite thing either. And so actually I think go ahead.
Let me ask you this. What is the particular flavor of vape that this angel is doing that is particularly pungent to you?
It is this sickly sweet kind of like candy orange flavor,
Yeah.
like white chocolate orange. And it is gross. And I'm just going to look at him and make a face. I'm going to go over and actually kind of try to pick a fight, I think.
Okay. So kind of get into his face, trying to connect here. Uh let's I think this is you maybe revealing your heart. Let's try that social interaction move and see how that functions here.
Okay.
Okay. What is your gambit to try and get a rise out of this angel?
You see, like, are you the patron angel attacking us or what?
This is, there's a certain amount of this being ironic. Blows it right in your face.
Irony. Oh, that's interesting that you have taken all these kind of weird little human emotions and sort of ape them in this manner. How does it feel being down here with us?
Us? What an interesting turn of phrase.
The
I don't really
team.
consider you us. Or are
I
you not just
consider.
talking about humanity? You're talking about the immediate crew.
I think I was pretty clear.
How many darkness tokens do you want to spend on this?
I'm going to spend 2. And I'm just like, I'm just putting so much kind of sneeriness and mockery in my voice. And I'm not actually kind of saying anything outright so much as just my attitude is really obnoxious.
Okay. Let's have you roll with a +2.
All right. Yeah, dice.
We'll see if these dice betray you again right out of the gate.
Roll them on my lap. Okay, a 1 and a 6. How's a 7?
7. So that's and you spent 2 tokens, you said?
Yes.
So that is a 9. So here's the choices you have. In upsetting them, you could gain a bond with them that you could use. Like, you've made a connection. A bond isn't necessarily positive; it can be
Right.
negative. Irritating them could soothe your heart. If you had a condition marked, you could clear that. You could learn something from them and mark XP. Or if getting them to react made you happy, you could clear a point of ruin.
I'm going to take a bond with him.
Okay. There's a bit where he looks at you and, like, I think the very presence of you maybe sours his vaping. Like he goes to do it and there's that kind of gurgle of it of like it's clearly run out.
Okay.
And he just is, fucking demons. Walks away, just clearly like you got under his skin.
Excellent.
You could tell that part of it is he's off balance from Beelzebub's conversation with him before, and this kind of is additionally like he's trying to hold himself together, but he's clearly cracking at the edges.
Whoa. We just keep poking at him. All right. I've done my poking.
So the 4 of you have gathered some information, things like that. Let me ask this. We can kind of have a conversation. I assume you want to see elsewhere in the facility. Do you want to, wander on your own? Do you want to have the professor lead you somewhere? Do you want to look for something? What do you think is your next step in your exploration of this place? Let's start with Samson on this question.
I'm interested in seeing where the professor goes, because I feel like they're going to be kind of a focal point and might be able to help. I mean, they're a native, so that's my take on it.
Okay. Beelzebub?
I think I'm mostly hungry and looking for trouble.
Okay.
So if there's something that strikes me as a place I might find it, I would head in that direction. Otherwise, I'm content to just sort of like stick with some folks and see if I can poke something.
Okay. Cetus, what about you?
I just wanted to put an addendum to what happened just at the last scene with Cetus when
Sure.
that all overcame him, that memory. I think he swooned a bit and
Okay.
leaned to Beelzebub closely. So he's a little bit feeling confused and shook up by the memory. I think he's just gonna stop interacting for a moment as he gathers himself.
Okay.
And maybe just follow along Beelzebub.
Okay. So Vane, if you see like Samson's maybe starting to kind of follow, Professor's kind of leaving, Samson's kind of following, Beelzebub's poking around looking for trouble. Cetus is kind of hovering behind him. Where would you go? What would you do?
I'm going to follow Samson and the professor.
Okay. Well, let's start with them then, shall we? You three, the professor will start down and is kind of like gesturing like they're talking, but maybe they're talking to themselves. And goes down a couple of flights of steps, and like maybe that opens up into like a cavern, and you walk down some more steps, and the professor goes, oh, we should go here, and points across this sort of very dirty, industrial machinery left around floor, and walks the two of you over to a room that she kind of pulls the door open, and inside you will see that there are old, like UNIVAC style computers. There's reel-to-reel things in there, and that these would have flashing lights on them. There are punch cards scattered everywhere. There's a big, wide matrix printers with the green and white paper and the holes at the side. And let's put this one for Samson, I think, and then I'm going to ask Vane a question. Samson, as you go in, kind of following behind the professor, professor's like, oh yeah, this is like the nerve center. You see that there's one of the old CRT screens, computers there, that kind of orange and black. And Samson, it looks like it's kind of still running with like the last base wide command flickering on the screen. What does it say, and why does that bother you?
I think it says evacuation complete. All personnel have exited.
Seems to do that. Well that many people got out, but many people left behind, and this is just everything's fine. Everything's okay. Vane, what do you, as you kind of follow in behind Samson in here, and the professor is kind of looking around, what is there graffiti that you find in here in this nerve center lab?
It's a mix of just kind of very crude obscenities, and then this highly literate Latin. And it's a strange mix because it seems to be the same hand doing both the just really kind of lots of scatological horrible references, and then this actually startlingly beautiful Latin poetry in praise of the creator.
Yeah. Wild, someone who clearly had a grasp for the meter of it, a real authentic voice. And of course, you're a demon, Latin.
It's faintly painful to read it. It's so pretty.
Yeah.
Yes.
Kind of burns your eyes as the two of you move through here. And the professor will say, I don't usually come down here. Sometimes I do. Sometimes the machines are running. Sometimes they aren't. But this, like, past here is where it gets worse.
Worse how?
It's harder to hold yourself together once you go below level 13. Like, like these tapes, and it kind of draws both you and Samson's attention, because like these tapes, there's I said before I died, and I get brought back. I can, but there's a loss of fidelity
Oh God.
each time, and when you go down deeper, it makes it worse. That's the first door is down there somewhere.
You haven't been messing around with the first door, have you?
The first door is open. That's why everything is the way it is.
Did you open it?
I don't think so. And like that question has clearly never occurred to her, and she does stop and goes, "No, I don't think so. I don't know. There are some of us, maybe one of the others did, maybe one of the new people who arrived like you did. I don't know."
The new people who arrived, do you know who they are?
There was a shadow, there was a kraken, and there was a girl.
I think that the
That's like
Krakens.
that's like a book title, right?
Yeah. I think the Kraken's name might have been Vex. Do you know where they went?
I don't know. I don't know where you went. When you
Oh.
left and I was left here all alone, I don't know where you went then.
Do you think they went down below? They went down to below where the first door is, below 13.
Oh no, you shouldn't go down below 13. It's like these tapes, like sometimes, and it kind of goes and says exactly the same sequence of things again to you.
And I look over at Vane, and I'm like, I think we need to go down below 13.
I think someone needs to go down and close the door. And my vote is that we have the angel do it.
Cetus says in your head, Vane, that's a great idea.
I'm going to cut back to Cetus and Beelzebub. Beelzebub, those two kind of head off the professor, and you're like, okay, maybe I'll start to follow when you hear this kind of footfalls coming this way towards where you and Cetus are.
Yeah, I mean, I immediately turned my head to look to where the footfalls are coming from.
And you'll see walking in towards where you're at this guild aquatic person with these kind of dead white eyes, and like a weird little like apparatus on, and kind of strikingly beautiful face, but the rest of the body is kind of classically fish person-y. And they see you two, and they're like, "Hello."
Remind me. So I know we've had a description of a fish person named Abraham.
Yep.
I don't remember if if Beelzebub was present for that.
I think you would have picked that up from the very conversation.
Okay. Yeah. So I say, oh, Abraham, I take it.
It's actually pronounced Abraham.
My apologies, Abraham.
Sorry, that's
I don't
the
look even
name they
remotely
gave
sincere.
me. They're persnickety about it.
Were they?
Division.
They are persnickety assholes, aren't they?
They're persnickety.
Never met someone persnickety who wasn't an asshole.
Who are you two? Where's the professor?
Professor went down towards that way with some friends.
Okay. So who are you two?
We're here to help.
Oh, can you get the professor out of here?
Unless we need to get,
Like she needs to get out of here. She's been stuck here for so long, and like somebody needs to help her. Somebody needs to get her out of here.
what are you doing here? No one's supposed to be here.
I'm I'm an operative. I I I I've always been here.
Yeah, but like I was here for a while, and Samson was here for a while, and then we all left.
I didn't get out.
That's hold on one second.
I I I they told us all to leave. We tried to leave, but there were people that hadn't left, and I went back for her, and then it was all locked down, and then things happened. There's a big blank space there for me.
Now you just get to hang out with the professor all day.
I come back here from time to time.
When
It's hard.
When you don't come back here, where do you go?
I wander around. Sometimes I think that the door puts me away, like on a shelf, and then pulls me out. I'm not sure.
Abraham, what do you want?
I want you to rescue the professor.
I take a step closer. No, not for the professor, for you. And I like, not in like a stabbing,
Okay.
poking way, but in like a kind of gentle, sort of like, thoughtful way. I sort of tap him on the chest. Say, for you, what do you want for you?
Are you using a move here, or are you just asking? Like
I'm just asking.
I want the professor to be safe.
You want the professor to be safe. What would you do to get that?
Can you do that? I'll do whatever you want. If you can do that, if you can promise me you can do that.
No. You can do it. I can't do anything. What would you do?
I can't do anything. I'm not really here.
Oh, you're not. See, that's interesting, Cetus.
So your name is Cetus? Can you help the professor, Cetus?
Is this person who's not really here dreaming? Do they have dreams? I don't know if that's something you can actually tell, but I'm wondering if you can.
Yeah, so I guess his eyes narrow. He's coming out of his swoon a bit.
Yeah.
Get more articulate. And his eyes narrow as he looks at Abraham. Could be a dream. Could be a memory. But I'm confused now with these people coming back and forth from death. They seem sometimes more like memories than like people. Incomplete memories. I don't know. And he steps forward as if he's going to touch Abraham.
Mm-hmm. He'll kind of look at you. He's still kind of like, the question is still in the air. Like, can you help the professor?
I wanna try something. And
let me have Jose, if he has a move here. Let me go to that first.
Yeah, let me see. If I do have a move, it would be I guess I could use wait a second. There's a basic move also around reveal your heart, right?
You've got your starting move, and you've also got the other. What do you feel like doing?
I think I'll go ahead with my starting move. I haven't used that yet.
How many darkness tokens do you want to spend?
Let us do this. Let's spend 2. And so let me take that down to 1. Actually, let's spend 1.
Okay.
Okay. So that'll take me down to 2. And then I roll. So in this move, basically what I'm doing is I'm trying to read past the surface thoughts or the feelings of another person. It's called
Sure.
your heart from me. And let's see what I am getting out of this. Where's the die roller? There it is. And this one. Let's go. Ooh, it's a 10.
That is a 10.
Sweet
So
spot. I
that's
can't remember.
that's perfect. 8 to
Okay,
10 is our sweet spot.
glad I took 1 rather than 2.
Yeah. So you get to ask 2 questions.
Okay. I think. What don't you realize you know?
Okay.
So it's like the more complicated one.
So you get to establish that one of the keys that we've already got here
Okay.
is absolutely associated with one facet of the mystery. Like it points us to the harbinger, the person, the thing that's kind of the threat, the big bad, or to the door of power, the source that's happening, or to the abandonment of Division 001. And you get to make a connection and then tell us like a truth about that.
Oh wow! So this is a challenging one.
Yeah. You asked for it.
Well, I guess I just want to push all the buttons.
Oh yeah.
All
If
right.
you'd
So
like, we could take our break here and you could have some time to think about it.
sure, that'd be
Okay.
fine.
Yeah, because we're right on the hour. Let's take 10 here. We'll come back right away with Jose. And then Jess, you wanted to do something, so we'll kind of roll out to that. Okay.
All right.
Okay. So, Cetus, what key that we've established
Mhm.
do you want to connect to a specific facet right now? And then let's figure out what truth you want to state from that.
Okay. So you'll help me calibrate this because I've never
Absolutely. Yeah.
done this. Because I don't want it to be too delineative, and I don't want it to be too vague, and I
Sure.
want it to do all the things it's supposed to do. So what I'm thinking of is that I'm going to connect to the Bella raised in dreams,
Mm-hmm.
and also Cetus's memory of disincorporating Bella in a dream. And I think I want to say that the door of power was opened. That's one of the facets, right? The door of power.
Yeah.
I want to say that the door of power was opened in an effort to bring Bella back after her death.
Oh, okay. So at some point, Bella died.
Mm-hmm.
Whether that we don't know how that happened, whether in the real world or in this world,
Mm-hmm.
and someone we don't know if it's a past experience thing, tried to bring her back, like raise her from the dead, from the dream dead,
Mm-hmm.
and that put the crack in our door of power and our thing that's the key to all this.
Yeah, somewhere in Ibrahim's memories, it's kind of course his memories are fragmented, so I don't know who it was or what he overheard or saw during those moments before the breaking of the door of power or the opening of the door of power. But that's the gist of it. If that works.
Absolutely. That's perfect. That gives us a thing we've solved about the mystery that we got as kind of an anchor point when we go to look at the facets and figure out the bigger picture here.
Okay.
Okay.
Wow.
Jesse, did oh yes.
Do I get a second question or just I can't remember?
Oh yeah, that's right. You got two on that. What's the other question?
I guess I'll ask. I don't think he's hiding anything. What are you truly afraid of? I'll say.
He's truly afraid that the professor is just as unreal as he is and can't be saved. That kind of fear that maybe he already knows that that's true, maybe he's hoping it isn't true, but that's the real fear at the root of him.
Okay.
Okay. Beelzebub.
So here's what I'm thinking.
Sure.
And this is like a very calculated move on Beelzebub's part based
Okay.
on what Ibrahim has said and the interactions with me and with Cetus, right? So I feed on hopes and desires,
Okay.
right, of people. And I think I want to try to take a taste of his.
Okay.
Just mostly out of curiosity, because like, I don't know, maybe I could eat raw hope and desire that was like floating out in the world, right? If that's all this thing is, right? But like, I don't think, that includes like if a ghost has personality and has hopes and desires in that personality, I could
Yeah.
probably, but like if it's like a projection or a simulacrum or like something that doesn't have its own like real autonomy, I don't know that there'd be anything for me to eat.
I get what you're saying. I think it's all going to depend on what you roll.
Yeah, no, I'm absolutely down with that. That's fine. Yeah. So I lean in. I had just been sort of tapping pronouns he, him.
He, him.
He, him, yeah. So I had just been sort of tapping his chest, and I put my hand flat against it, and I lean in. This is such a cool move, by the way. It's not what you think it would be. It's real. Rae is so good. And I lean in, and I whisper in his ear. I say, I say, just you want her safe. Just let it out. Right. Just want that. What does it look like for her to be safe? Where is she? Tell me. And like I've got my mouth kind of on his ear, and I think the claws are extending from my fingers and starting to cut into his chest a little bit.
How many darkness tokens do you want to spend?
How badly do I want to go over the edge on this is the question. I think let's start with 3. Let's do 3.
Yeah, 3 is the maximum. So yeah, absolutely.
Oh, I can't do 4.
No.
Good to know. 3 it is then. And I will roll 2d6 plus 3. And that is a 12.
That is a 12. So on an 11 plus, your hunger goes deeper and edged with endless teeth as your humanity slips further away. What choice do you want of those two?
Yeah. I think I give in to the worst of my hunger and go too far, inviting chaos and terror. And I think I mean, you tell me what. Can you tell me sort of what Ibrahim is feeling?
I think there's
and I'll describe how I respond to it.
Yeah, I think that it is that you being here has kindled in this remade person hope, and that's all that he is. Like in that second, like he takes on the full aspect of that emotion, and it's it's delicious because you know that it is going to fail, and you know how forlorn it is, and that grabs onto you.
Yeah. So I think when my hunger feeds, there's a physical piece of this too. You know, and I think you know, I think that grasping claw like transforms even more, and I'm like clutching on, almost not enough to, I think, well, I'm giving in. I don't know like how alive he is exactly, but I think if
I
he,
don't think he's alive right now
yeah,
after you're done with
that's
him.
what I'm gonna say, right? I mean, so I think I think I'm literally gripping his sternum.
What does it look like when you tear the hope from this husk and rip it apart right in front of Cetus?
Yeah, I mean, so I think it's almost like, I forget which kind of snake it is, or maybe it's all the snakes. Like my jaw almost unhinges, right? And so I mean, there's like two things, right? What little skin is left on my face like opens up, and the demonic head completely emerges from that mouth, from the lips as they peel back. If this is too much for people in terms of the body horror, you know, let me know. Um, uh, and then I think my jaw just like unhinges and it opens wide, and there's I mean, see, this can probably see this because there's a memory and dream memory, right, aspect to what I'm eating. You know, and I you know, and so there's I don't know if it looks like light or mist or fog or some combination of all of it that just gets pulled into this enormous mouth.
Okay.
Um,
I'm going to ask you about your hunger condition in a second, but let me ask you this. Cetus, what is left behind in your hands after Beelzebub does that?
I think scales, just a bunch of fish scales that just kind of shimmer and fall from my hands like a powder.
Yeah.
And Cetus looks up and says, "That's what it looks like when you eat." It's
sometimes.
Cetus, you will add a hunger condition, and so this is added as a permanent thing.
Mm-hmm.
It's a kind of a new addition to your kind of wound track, since your conditions are wound. So what do you want? What do you want to call that?
Let me think on it a little.
Okay.
I have one more question, right? Because so when I feed on desire and hope, I leave behind an uncontrollable addiction to pleasure or pain. Obviously, Abraham is no longer feeling pleasure or pain,
I think
but
this
but yeah, but the question is, which was it that, like, did he, was it pleasurable, painful, both? What did he feel as I was feeding on him? I think, because I think this is something I know.
I think that you wrenched the hope away from him, and I think that was just pure pain.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay. Thank you. I'm going to think on this, and I'll let you know.
Yeah. So let's come back to Vane and Samson. Uh, Samson, you suggested that you need to go deeper, right? That's the last thing we heard.
That's right.
Vane, how do you react to that? You still like we need to push the angel ahead of us?
Yeah, we're going to push the angel ahead of us, but I'll be curious to see what this door is. I do want to see it with my own eyes, because perhaps one could pass through it and get back to hell if one wanted to. There's always that chance, but I do want to see the angel as a buffer in front of us.
Okay. So Samson, what are you saying? What are you doing?
Obviously this room, so I think we should go back and get the rest of the group before we go down below level 13.
Agreed.
So I imagine this is kind of a walk and talk as you're heading back up.
We're strolling back, yeah.
Yeah. And I think that as we go back, I ask, what, Professor, what was it like to die? Do you remember how you died?
One of the mercies of this, I don't know if it's a quality of mercy or not, is that I don't remember. I just have knowledge that I died. And
Do you
then I'm
remember?
back.
Do you remember anything from below level 13?
Have you ever tuned to like a dead station, like on the AM dial, like where the static is really, really intense, and listen to that?
And sometimes you can hear voices?
No,
Oh.
it's just static for me down there. It's where all the sounds and the songs and everything just peels apart. Is that what death is?
That might be what your death is. Do you want to come with us?
I don't particularly want to die again. No. If I had my choice, then I'd say no. No, I do not wish to go down to the static filling death level. No.
How will we find you whenever we come back up so that we can take you with us?
I'm always here. I'll always be here.
Yes, but you can't always be found. If we have to leave in a hurry, you need to be ready to leave.
I pack lightly.
Okay. And remember to, remember the things that you were researching that might help us as we leave.
Oh, okay. And I think the two of you, Vane, Samson, will come up in the aftermath. I mean, I don't think you see Abraham, but you see Cetus and Beelzebub standing close together, maybe a little bit oddly conspiratorially. I mean, I think maybe you're seeing Beelzebub's jaw kind of hinging back into place.
Yeah,
And I immediately,
with that completely demonic looking head now, and probably a lot of blood on me, my own.
and I completely start looking for the angel because I'm like, you know, you must have eaten the angel.
And of course, as you look around, I think that's the point at which you see the angel come strolling back in, like using a wet nap to wipe his hands.
Like,
I wonder how that works. I heard that they don't really have anything. Oh, well.
well,
Are
while
we
y'all
heading
have,
to the door?
yes, I think while y'all have been back here, I think we need to head down below level 13, and the professor's going to get all of their stuff ready to go. Once we come back.
And
Let's go down.
He just whispers into Beelzebub's ear, or into his mind, actually. We don't need to tell them about Abraham.
We can.
Okay. Up to you. Or it could be our secret.
Sure. Let's keep it secret then.
Might
And I
upset-
give you a big exaggerated conspiratorial wink.
Might upset the professor.
So the professor will kind of fall back into the mode of doing this stuff. And Vane, are you trying to goad / push the angel to kind of be at the front of this?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm quite frank about it, and just being like, you claim to be this, you're an angel, angels, isn't it angels rush in where fools wait? No, go ahead, it's your first.
Looks at you and he says, okay, I'll go first. And he will move to get at the front, and you will kind of march down lower levels. Samson, for the purposes, I'm going to assume you're close by the front after the angel.
Yes.
Okay. And you'll descend these stairs. Do you feel it gets colder? What's the what kind of sensations do you feel, Samson? Do you smell? Do you like taste? Like what is that for you?
I think I do, but it's fleeting.
Okay.
So I get the smells of dampness, and then it kind of goes away. It's almost like a numbed sense.
So what is the scent that you get as you descend these steps?
Scent of decay.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah. And I tell the rest of them, now keep your eyes out, because we know that there's at least one other monster here, Abraham, and then there's also uh the professor mentioned that Vex and Mr. Knock and Bella were all here at some point
Yeah.
too. So
Yeah.
keep your eyes open.
And the angel goes, yes, yes, yes. We should keep an eye open for monsters, that kind of thing. Absolutely. And Samson, you are behind the angel, and you will hear up ahead, like at this next level. You're not quite at level 13, but you see that there's like level 12, that there's a door that's cracked open, and you will hear weeping. Gentle crying, Samson, from that next space.
And I think I say, we need to stop and see there's something over here, and we need to make sure that it's not Mr. Knock or Vex. And I'll go and investigate.
Okay. So you will poke your head in. Do you want to grasp a key?
Yeah, I think that sounds good.
We haven't had you do that yet. Let's
Yeah.
do that. How many tokens do you want to spend?
So I'm going to generate tokens first.
Sure.
I think I've been telling people to follow my instructions for a while.
Yeah.
I think I'll take 4 from that because I've been bossy.
Mm-hmm.
And I will spend 3.
Okay.
Okay. And let me roll. And that is a 10.
That is a 10. So that is right in that sweet spot. You will look in to this room, and you will see that it's kind of dark, and there's a little bit of emergency lighting that's dimmed and aged out over time. It's as much as anything that the plastic has kind of turned sepia toned. You know how old plastic does. But you will see moving around in here is a shadow that is moving along the walls, and you see it has kind of reddish eyes, and it's saying, Bella, 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 where are you? I can hear the song. I can hear the song, but then there's this other song. What is this other song? I can't, and and I can't find you, Bella. And you can see this is Knock kind of flitting around there. There is in the center of the room like a tape player. What do you do?
And it's playing something?
Well, do you want to turn it on?
Yeah.
Okay. You'll reach forward and touch this and push the play button, and there's that click of the real thing, and you will start hearing. Maybe at first you think it's some distorted pop song or something, but it kind of shifts again, and it is a song from the deeps. It is the song of the Kraken. It is that, and like it rumbles out. You don't know how you can get this much bass on something like this, and even for you, you kind of feel yourself kind of shiver as this song of the Kraken plays out like a leviathan mixed with a whale song, mixed with a cry of defeat, mixed with a cry of destruction. And that's your clue, is a Kraken song.
Is this the same song that we heard before with the I
No,
saw the sign?
that was Ace of Base.
Okay. Okay.
What do you what's your reaction to that, Samson? Then let me check in with the others here.
I think whenever I have that, whenever I hear that, I slide the tape recorder back, watching Mr. Knock to see what he does. Does he follow, or he just stays in that same area?
He's actually, like, when you push it towards him, he's kind of repulsed by it.
But I think I want to bring that tape recorder along.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, who else is next? The angel's kind of standing by impatiently, like, yes, come on, we need to go further. We need to go deeper down now. Come on. But you see Samson interacting with Mr. Knock, has this tape recorder. What do you do, Vane?
I'm looking at Mr. Knock and trying to kind of assess. They said, like, if he'd gotten out of control, we were supposed to neutralize him, and that would be interesting, and I'm kind of curious about that challenge. So I'm just seeing, does it look like we should be neutralizing him?
Interesting. I think that there are two layers to this. One, Vane, this is chaotic. This is out of control. I don't think anyone would question if you were to neutralize it. No one would have any real problem with that, right?
Ooh.
On the other hand, if you're going literally, this monster looks broken. They are unfocused. They've lost something. They're trapped. They're not like the others, but they are not really a threat to you.
Well, you see kind of Vane kind of struggle for a moment, kind of like, wah, and then finally just sort of reach out and grab Knock by the shoulder and sort of pull it. Like you said, he's moving in a kind of path.
Yeah. You grab it, and you can feel this coldness. It's hard to grab onto because he is shadow.
Oh, oh. I see, Samson. We should get him out of here.
That's a good idea. He should come along.
Well, I can't seem to grab him, so perhaps you have some way of grabbing him, like shadow control.
I think I'll just play the song and herd him in front of us.
Okay.
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 I think I do want you to power through darkness for that, though, Samson.
Perfect. Yeah.
How many do you want to spend? And then I'm going to check
spend
in with Cetus and then Basilbug.
I'll spend 2.
Okay.
Ooh, that's a 13.
That is a 13. So you can mark a condition to exert better control, or I can tell you how this situation is not under your control.
I'm going to mark a condition, and I'm going to mark vicious.
Okay. I think you reach out and you grab on and you use the music, and it's as much as anything, you almost kind of jam the shadow substance into that tape deck.
Mhm.
And now it's kind of a blend of this song and shadow that kind of keeps, burbling along on this thing.
Do I have a sense of how Mr. Knock is feeling here?
Uh,
Does he want something real bad?
He's certainly lonely. He's desperately calling for Bella.
Yeah. This strikes me as a really terrible moment but I feel that strong loneliness. And I step up, I sort of like brush past Samson, right? And and put my arm around Mr. Knock the Shadow as much as I can, right?
It's a shadow like wrapped around a tape deck at this point.
Right. So I think what I'm doing is I'm like almost, it's like this, right? I'm
Okay.
treating it like it's a person. I think that's important.
All right.
Right. And I'm saying, oh, I know how you feel. I know how you feel. And I think I just open my jaw wide, grab
Now,
the,
let me stop you there.
yeah.
I'm going to put a pin in that. Cetus, you have just seen this happen moments before, and you see this about to happen again. Are you cool with that? Do you react to it? Do you want to let it go? Are you helping him do it? What do you think is your reaction? I think because you were so close to it before, I want to give you the opportunity to decide what your reaction is to that, and then we'll resolve.
Okay. I think Cetus realizes that that Mr. Knock might be helpful to us in closing the door, um, and so I think he just puts a hand on Beelzebub's shoulder and says, "Wait, wait, not just yet." But I'm assuming that Beelzebub ignores that and jumps forward.
Yeah, I think in this moment, and I just sort of like shrug my shoulder and like shrug your arm off as my jaw again unhinges. And I mean, so this is Samson, you're holding this tape deck, right? So you could probably try and fight this if you wanted to, but I try to snatch it away and just pop it in my mouth.
Samson?
Yeah, so I think I want to resist that, and I'm trying to decide exactly what it looks like. I think what I want to do, how do you gain bonds with someone?
So one of the ways that you can gain bonds with someone is to reveal your heart.
Okay, so reveal your heart sounds correct, and I think what I say is, Beelzebub, don't do this. You wouldn't want it done to you. The first door
Oh,
below or something like that might end up trying to eat you, and we'll protect you as a team, but you have to protect those weaker than you to be a part of this team.
Interesting.
I mean, I know that is exactly the wrong approach to Beelzebub.
Well, shall we do the die roll on that reveal your heart,
Yeah,
and then
let's
we'll
see how
see what the picks are, how we adjust that to your response, because you get some autonomy in this. Samson,
Yeah.
how much darkness do you want to spend?
So I've spent all of my darkness, and I don't think I've done anything to. Oh, no, I just did. I asked someone to ignore their heart.
Yeah.
And I'd say that's
Did you?
probably is it your heart to eat?
Well, it
Or not?
struck me that you were trying to appeal to my heart.
Um,
We're saying this, you want this other thing more than you want. You're right. You're right. That's right. What I'm saying is I want to eat, and you're saying don't do that thing that your heart
Yeah.
wants because
Yeah.
there's a safer, better path.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Thumbs up.
or there might be repercussions if you follow your heart.
Yeah, yeah,
So
absolutely.
so I'll spend 2 points of darkness,
Okay.
and let me roll that,
All right.
and that is a 7, which I don't think is enough.
Okay. Now you
Yes.
could spend a bond to bump it up, but
Which I don't have.
okay. Then I think that that's the moment that as you're talking to Beelzebub, and Beelzebub, you're kind of going forward, that Angel Goramel's hand lashes out, grabs Knock, and squeezes, and Knock explodes in both of your faces. This shadow thing, and both of you mark a condition. Samson, Beelzebub.
I'm going to mark distracted.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm marking craving.
And Goramel is just laughing, like, and it's wrong. Vane, what do you do?
I'm a little astounded by this, but I want to get moving. So let's go.
Okay.
Let's go, Angel. Let's go. You've had your fun. Let's go.
Cetus, what do you do? You're muted.
I think Cetus just says, well, that put an end to that. I guess we just move forward. Sorry, Beelzebub.
Beelzebub, what did you mark?
I marked craving, and I'm gonna rip that angel's fucking head off.
Okay.
I don't even think I'm not gonna try to eat them. Right. This is I mean, because what I'm both raging and craving. Right. And
Sure.
maybe if they survive this, I try to eat them, but
So Vane, you turn and kind of say, let's get moving, and you'll see Beelzebub leap on the angel, like just go at him. So Beelzebub, could you please roll Unleash the Dark?
Yeah. Well, yeah, hold on. I'm taking 3 tokens for embodying raging and craving.
Okay.
And I'm gonna spend them all right away.
All right.
So yeah, 2d6 plus 3. That's a 12.
That is a 12. So on 11 plus, your control falters and you go too far. You hit to choose one from above, but then I'm going to describe a consequence.
So yeah, so I'm not sure. Part of the problem is that, like I'm not sure exactly what this looks like, because what I want to do is murder them.
Yeah, that's inflicting a condition.
Okay, yeah. So yeah, I will get past their defenses and inflict a condition. What's the unintended consequence?
So I think it's that you leap at them and your claws come out and you rip one of his arms off. And it kind of comes off, and suddenly you realize that Goramel's hand is around your throat as you've come at him, and Goramel swings you like a rag doll into the wall and smashes your head in this physical form against it. Mark a ruin and a condition.
Oh, beautiful.
And you realize that Vane, that like there's no blood or anything, there's no ether or anything coming out of this this angel, there's something wrong. What do you do?
Well, I just saw him kick Beelzebub's ass, so I don't know that I'm gonna say, well done, well done. And just step back, and he'd just be like, and then he'd like look at Samson and be like,
Samson, what do you do?
I think I stumble into the wall, and I'm going to take the tape recorder and shove it into, like a pocket and say, we should just move on. There's too much going on here. With our petty squabbles, we will finish this once we get out. Agreed?
Okay. So the two of you do that. You see Gormel turn to look at the two of you. Cetus, what do you do before I kind of narrate what Gormel does? But Beelzebub, is probably still enraged, and claws and such out.
But a little turned on also, apparently.
I'm trying to see how he might respond. I think maybe I will attempt to, what is it called? Let it out? Or no, the powers. Oh, come on, basic moves, Jose.
Do you want to try to enforce your will on them? That's unleash the dark. If you want to use one of your powers to change the environment, that's power through darkness.
Okay, I think it's to enforce my will.
Okay.
So I'm going to use my power absorption to momentarily rendering them both incapable.
Okay. How many points do you want to spend?
And okay, how does Unleash the Dark work? Okay, I'll spend 2.
Okay. Go ahead and roll.
Oh, 13.
So what is it you want to have happen here?
Okay, so let me just see. Unleash the Dark. My control falters and I go too far. So there's some way that the absorption goes too far.
Absolutely.
And somehow I'm going to get overwhelmed.
Yeah, but tell me what you wanted your pick from the list above.
Oh, from the list above. All right.
Yeah.
Oh, I'll confuse them for a time.
Okay. I think you hit them. I think they stagger back, and I think you drag in, and you immediately start feeling like the world around you is tearing apart, because that isn't Goramel.
Oh.
That's the first door.
Oh shit.
And
bad news.
Goramel's no longer in the building. And you'll drag onto that, and you grab on the power, and you can feel it trying to make you like the professor, like Abraham. Like you can feel that power from that artifact kind of rush through you. What condition do you want to mark?
Let's see. It'll be, I have a choice of conditions, right? Let's see. Unreachable, I guess.
Okay. Like you kind of roll back into that. what do you think is the thing that shows everyone see this that this is no longer Gormel, that this is something else? Like, what does your power effect do that reveals that unmasks this thing?
Well, I think there obviously was some kind of glamour or some kind of illusion around Gormel, or around what we thought was Gormel, and I think it melts away, and
Yeah, it looks
what?
like it melts away. The skin kind of sloughs off, and it looks like a howler, like one of those things you fought before,
Uh,
wearing Goromel's skin.
Skin in tatters.
Yeah, tatters. Uh, uh, Beelzebub,
Yeah.
what do you do?
I mean, I kind of like, I start to, I mean, I kind of like shake it off. Um, and I'm like, what I would really like to do, oh, I
Mhm.
know what I would like to do.
Okay.
Um, uh, um, I'm I'm going to I want to do something, hurt this thing, eat this thing. I don't know what to this thing. Um, and I'm so raw at this point between the anger and the frankly the lust to an extent, the hunger, right?
Uh-huh.
All of it. And I'm just reaching inside me for a harbinger that I have consumed in the past.
Okay. So let's how many darkness tokens do you want to spend on that?
I'm going to spend one. Um, and I'm gonna roll. That's a 9.
That is a 9. So you get to choose.
Yeah, my body ripples in perfect sync with what remains of the harbinger's power. Um, and this is a harbinger. It's like it's so close to the surface already with the fury.
Mhm.
But I transform, and this isn't my usual. This isn't that form that they've been seeing in the past, mission, or the one that they saw the last time I did this against the howlers, right? But this is a harbinger of bone and steel and smoke and flame, and just these like uh this is like Wolverine-esque almost,
Okay.
and I just go at this howler creature that remains with these weapons, with these fiery weapons of bone and steel. And so I'm inflicting 2 conditions on the target, but I will take one in return, and that is lonely. And
Okay.
I have marked all my conditions, and I'm hitting my breaking point.
All right. So Vane, Samson, I think that the two of you are kind of forced back as Beelzebub transforms on this kind of landing here and tears this thing apart. And I think there's a moment when all three of you realize that Beelzebub has lost it, has absolutely lost it right now. Uh, how how do you react? You're gonna see this tearing that's happening there, and you have a few moments before Beelzebub is going to be as much danger to the three of you as to anything here. What do you do, Vane? You're muted.
I know that Beelzebub is maybe scared of me, or at least we got that sort of frenemy thing going, and I'm still kind of horrified by the whole angel falling apart thing. But yeah, I'm gonna reach forward and my scythe comes into my hands, and I'm just gonna yell at Beelzebub, stand down.
So you get in a position where if Beelzebub does something, you'll be able to react before
Yes.
that happens. Samson, what do you do?
I think I tell Vane and Cetus we have to contain Beelzebub now. He's a threat to the mission, but he must come back with us. And I'm gonna move to get around on the other side of Beelzebub.
Okay.
So either he comes for me, or and I'm a distraction for Vane or something. Yeah.
Okay. Spreading yourselves out to like moving in different directions. Cetus, what do you do?
Wow. So Cetus is still reeling from what just happened a moment ago.
Yeah.
I'm trying to imagine what he is actually capable of doing right now. But he still has, because when the initial attempt was to absorb both Beelzebub and Goromel's
Mm-hmm.
power. And so given that that connection is still there, I guess Cetus could try to siphon away more power from Beelzebub to make him more containable, but by the others.
Okay. So that feels like maybe you are power through
Okay.
darkness to like protect when Beelzebub's anger comes out to protect the group from that.
Sure, that'll work.
Does that feel like a fair way to read that?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. How many points do you want to spend?
Okay, how many do I have? I think I've got a couple left. I have a couple left. Why don't I go ahead and use that couple?
Before we roll, can I just ask like a question about stakes and mechanics?
Sure.
Right. So I'm good with whatever happens, but I just want so I've hit my breaking point, right? And one of the consequences of that is that the keeper will tell you how your hunger infects and creates a multitude of monstrosities as hollow and soulless as you.
Yeah, what
when I'm
like I want
trying,
to
are we working to stop that? I'm very happy if we are. I just want to clarify.
I think right now more the question is I think that's going to explode. That's going to happen
Got
here.
it. Mhm.
It's but it's a question of like the group being hit by the wash of this or not. We're going to kind of go into a little bit of like fiat narrative here in a second, depending on what Cetus rolls.
Absolutely. I just wanted to understand stakes before
Sure,
before
absolutely.
we take those steps. Thank you.
Okay. Roll. Where am I? Oops, it's a 7.
It is 7. Do you want to burn a bond?
I have a bond on Beelzebub, don't I? I think.
You can use it with bond with him or with one of the others that's present.
I'll use the bond
Or
with
with the
Beelzebub.
darkness.
I don't have any with the darkness anymore to use that one up. But I'll use the one with Beelzebub. That makes sense.
Okay.
And then I'll bring it to 8.
Then I think that you will use those powers that you have to kind of push yourself and Vane and Samson back. And there is an explosion of power from Beelzebub. And I think we see some of it rush out and around, and his hunger becomes manifest. And I think we see the wave of that rush out, hit against the energy of the first door that's present here. And I think we see some of those howlers that we've seen elsewhere. I think we see them change, and they become like Beelzebub, little destroyers. And I think we see them, a portion of them, start to roll out like a wave out of this complex. Even as Beelzebub starts tearing the facility apart here. We're going to take our break. And when we come back, we're going to be in the aftermath of that. So take 5. So what I want to know, I'm going to ask you a question here, Jesse, for your description of what that transformation looks like for Beelzebub. We're going to kind of take up in the aftermath, and Stephen has something he wants to throw in as a possibility on this, but there is a drastic change to you as a result of this, Beelzebub. So what do we see the physical as this destruction is let loose?
I mean, so I think, first of all, I get bigger, right? And I think that harbinger that I was manifesting earlier just like melts right off me, right? The bone and the blades and the fire just melt right off me like it's nothing. And it is that form that looks kind of demonic, that that big bald head with the little horns, the mouth with more teeth than fit. I think there is something vaguely serpentine about my face, even though it's not scaled, but in structure. Yeah.
Yeah. So this is going to happen. Cetus invokes that power to kind of protect, as there is a swath of destruction. We see some of those howlers get transformed into hunger spirits, like off of Beelzebub. There's collateral damage. Stephen, you were going to suggest something kind of you wanted to maybe throw into here.
Yeah, I wanted to check in meta-wise, like structure-wise. I was trying to figure out kind of where the story would go and what would be a cool key point here. Is this an appropriate time for Samson to step forward and say, I'm going to unlock Doom's door? We would roll that. I would declare what the mystery thing is.
Only no, because that's a group project. That's
Okay.
That's the unlock the Doom's door.
And the perspective that I had was, and maybe there's a different move that would be better, is Samson steps forward to try to take it upon himself to help finish the mission and get everything else out.
Yeah. Let me hard move kind of narrative
Okay.
something based on that, if I may. We're going to kind of cut forward a little bit, and I think there's maybe a post Hulk thing that we see with Beelzebub coming out of this after this waft of destruction. I think that we see Beelzebub as we saw him at the start of this, maybe with some changes to him to represent that, and the area in this complex around devastated, and Vane, Samson, Cetus kind of waiting for Beelzebub to come to, so that you can continue on, so that you can figure out what's going on. Does that seem like a fair way to handle that? Are you good with that? So like I'm I want to know what like Vane, what your reaction is sort of in the aftermath of that.
I think Vane is kind of quietly odd, but trying her very hardest not to show it.
And Cetus, what about you? This is a whole new experience that you've had here.
Yeah, I wanted to see. My condition is unreachable. I'm trying to think what that would look like in this situation. I think there was a sense of the overwhelm of that experience of connecting to both the door slash Goromel and then Beelzebub going to their breaking point, um, uh, that has pulled Cetus back. And so I think he's looking, instead of looking at like this inquisitive, like interested, engaged creature, he's like almost fading into the background in the sense of a sense of aloofness. He's not speaking. So I think that's the way it looks.
And I imagine that we see Beelzebub kind of getting up like from the exhaustion. You will clear all those conditions that you marked, but you're probably still a little disoriented. Samson, what are you doing? You've said a couple times here that for Samson, it's about getting this mission back on track, getting people out of here, getting safely. What are you saying? How are you interacting with Beelzebub to kind of say we need to move forward?
Um, I am going to. So I think before Beelzebub comes to, Samson's off on his own and looking reproachful, um, like he needed, um, like, and I think he actually probably says out loud, you know, I failed. I should have been better. I should have helped Beelzebub more than I did. I knew that he was hungry. And I'm gonna walk over as Beelzebub comes to, and um, I'm gonna say, I know that you're struggling, and it's going to be difficult for you for a while. And I'm sorry I wasn't there for you whenever I needed to be. And I'll help you moving forward with whatever you need. What do you need now?
Are you revealing your heart?
Yeah, sure. Yes.
I'm gonna sort of couch my response based on your how you do.
Okay. Um, and I'll spend 2 tokens because that seems like a thing,
Okay.
and see what that looks like. So that's a 9, and
Okay.
that's in the right thing. So I
Yeah.
choose one. Um, I'm going to. Oh, these are all good. I'm going to gain closer and gain a bond with you.
Okay. Do you respond, Beelzebub?
I do. I sort of like I'm kind of like shaking off whatever happened. I think part of like the weird magic of this is that whereas before, also this is just like all of my clothes had been ruined and bloody and whatever, and now that suit is back. Right, I'm back to my sort of, and I reach into a pocket and I take out 2 cigars. um I don't know if Samson can smoke, but I don't know if, and I say listen, I'm full for now. And but I appreciate that. You know, you asked me what I need, right?
Yeah.
So I think I want to say this like in a way that like is accepting what you're telling me, right? Like this is like a this is and I think what I say is I need you to remember that This is a team of equals. That's what I need. And I hand him a cigar.
Okay.
And I think you taught me something important also, though. Or no, I think we grow closer. I think that's the thing that fits the fiction better. And so I'll gain one bond with you.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I want to move now like to the four of you talking out what's going on. Like, got the first door as an artifact here. We're gonna go through what we have in terms of keys. We're going to kind of build a narrative from that. I'm going to kind of manage this. There are a couple of key things here as we look at the mystery map. There are three facets. One is the harbinger. This is the big bad. Who is it that's behind this? Who is the person that is manipulating it, or the thing, or the creature, or the entity, or aspect? What is that? The next is, what do we know about this door of power, this thing that's attempting to be used to breach? And then the last one is kind of the question of sort of that ties around this, is that abandonment of division base 0001. The way we do this is we're going to go in turns. We're going to start with Stephen and work our way around. And what you'll do, Stephen, you'll pick one of these keys that we haven't yet connected to a particular facet, say what it's connected to, and maybe what that tells us about the mystery, like what that reveals to us. We know one thing. We've got 5 keys, and one of them is already associated. We know that the opening of the door of power happened when something tried to bring Bella back from the dead. We know that. So that's a thing that's already established there. It's associated with the door of power. So which of these keys, and it can be one that you found, or it can be another person's key, do you want to associate with one of those facets, Stephen?
Can you remind me, what do we? So I remember there being part of the story where, Vex and Mr. Knock and Bella came into this facility, and then there was a fight. And it
No,
was
so what we know is Vex and Mr. Knock fought, and Mr. Knock is kind of connected to Bella.
Right.
And there was some kind of experiment that was done to empower and make.
Mm-hmm.
And Vex had a disagreement with Knock. We don't know what it was about. And essentially they both fled from the facility they were at, the other facility, and then somehow ended up here.
Okay. Thank you for reminding me of that, because I wasn't sure if Vex had been pushed out of here. So I think I'm going to associate the Kraken song that we just discovered with the Harbinger.
Okay.
And I think that what we're seeing is Vex came here with Bella, and he's the Harbinger associated with this door of power and all of that.
Okay. He is trying to do something now. The door is he's trying to do something with that, and harbingers want power. Whatever has happened, we know that he has been attached to it. Whether it was like did he try to bring Bella back? Did Knock try to bring Bella back? That's a question, but we know that harbinger did that. That song is the evidence of that. Beelzebub, Jesse, what key do you want to associate with a facet of this mystery?
Yeah, I think we're going to talk about me, because
okay,
that's who Beelzebub is. That folder labeled Beelzebub with instructions on how to kill me, and signs about what happens when they become a harbinger. And I think that's going to be connected to the abandonment of Division Base 001.
Okay.
And the story there And just we're gonna have to then connect all of these connections together, right?
We're weaving a story as we
yeah,
go along.
yeah. So I think it became clear that the door of power, whatever was behind it, was leaking into the facility. Right, and they were keeping, Omen class monsters there, me and Samson, as well as whoever else, right? And the door was leaking, and so they like shut it down, cordon off this door, don't let it get near any of our Omen class
Yeah.
harbingers.
So it tells us that that this door does something bad to Omen class, like they had prepared for this. That's why they abandoned it. That's what was going on there.
Yep.
Cat, with these last two keys, what do you want to associate one of them with?
I would like to associate the dollhouse from Bella's childhood with the door of power.
Okay.
Um, just that they are, I don't know, can I say that they are linked in some way?
Absolutely, yeah.
Okay. That's
like how are they linked? We know that Bella was taken.
well,
Is that door the way to the door to the dreams, or is it something else? Or
I think the dollhouse is the entrance into the dreams, perhaps. Yeah.
so in fact that dollhouse that you've been playing with, that you've been mucking with, that you've been shattering, that is in
Yes.
fact the last door.
Perhaps, yes.
No,
Yes.
that's what I think. That's your theory. I think that's
Fair
great.
enough.
I think that's perfect. So we'll connect
Okay.
that to the
Perfect.
door of power. And Jose, we've got that last key there, that music. What do you want to associate that with, and what does that tell us about the harbinger, or the door of power, or the abandonment here?
So I don't. I'm not calling up the song itself right now. So I can't connect to the lyrics or anything.
That's good because it's an earworm.
It's an earworm. Okay, that's best. So this music we're hearing it all around.
You hear the Kraken song. You've heard that, and coming down, you heard this song that had been distorted into kind of a prophetic thing.
Mm-hmm. So, and we have something on every facet already, right?
Yeah.
Yes. Okay. But the music is warped, but about the apocalypse. So it's an earworm. So maybe it's related to the abandonment of Division Base 1, that somehow that song was playing on a radio somewhere when the first crack happened in the door, and it infiltrated the minds of everybody in the division.
So you're saying that is the mimetic device, that's the medium that the first door uses, is actually the music and the sound.
Sure, that'll work.
That's kind of what you're saying. Like it grabbed onto that song back then, took it and used it, and you're just now kind of realizing that, and that means that the Kraken, this figure with the song, if it came here to try and like save Bella,
Mm-hmm.
Using this, it's a creature made with a song. It is, the Kraken has a song that is integral to it, and the last door has warped that. That's why it's become the harbinger.
Sure, that sounds good. I'll run with that.
I'll like we kind of tied those things together. That have so we know that Vex is the harbinger. We know where the last door is, and let's see how that works. Who wants to roll? We've got all 5 clues associated, so you can be rolling with a +3 on the basic move of unlocking Doom's Door. Who wants to roll? Since no one wants to roll, I will roll a d4 across the keeper, and that is a 3. So the third person in tab order is
Samson.
Stephen.
Okay, so I'll roll 2d6 plus 3.
Yes,
That is a 9.
that
Haha!
is a 9.
Is that good?
That's good. That's the right range.
So I think we see the 4 of you around this wreckage of that dollhouse that Vane has already done damage to, the same dollhouse that Cetus was playing with earlier that had that flashback. Samson, what do we see that tells us that like what is the visible manifestation of the door there?
Just like we'd established before, I think that there are tiny little paintings in there. And there's the painting of the Scream, and I think we see a painting of the dollhouse itself, indicating that that's the representation of the door.
The recursion that we see there. Beelzebub, what is it? What is the thing that like allows you to move into this space? Is it that you shrink down? Is it that this thing expands? Is it that the world changes to become this? How do you enter in to face this thing here at this door of power? You're muted.
I think it's I think it's the music. Right. I think we hear the sign, and it mingles with the Kraken song, right? And it surrounds us and overwhelms us, and then we're there.
Okay, pulls you into this, and we can see they've done some work to have the dollhouse set ruined from when Vane threw it on the ground. It's broken and shattered, but we see that Vane, we see the Harbinger, we see Vex, this child of the Kraken. What do they look like?
They're very tall, and they have kind of like, it's kind of like pearly green scales, and also just massive. But and so like if it was just that, they would be very beautiful, but they also have just about a bajillion tentacles, mainly protruding from the midsection.
Yeah,
And
like a cape of tentacles.
like a cape of tentacles. Yeah. And so like to the point where it's just like you can tell it's physically, it's difficult for them to drag all that weight of the tentacles forward.
And Cetus, what do you catch this Vex in the middle of? That like, what is Vex doing trying to, you catch them before they can open this door? What is it we see them doing? What is the thing? Are they singing something? Are they working at the painting? Are they doing something else? What do you think we see?
There's one wall standing at the moment of the house. It's in the living room above the fireplace on the mantle, and there's a nail there, and they are attempting to hang the painting of that's the painting of the dollhouse on that nail, but they can't quite get it because everything seems to be shifting a little, and they're about to put it on the nail.
So you've caught him at this moment. You see this, you realize what's going on. Vane, I'm going to start with you. What do you do?
I'm going to charge at him with my scythe.
Okay. Is this your come on tough guy move, you think?
This is my come on tough guy, and I'm just like you discount version of the creature from the Black Lagoon. Let's have at it.
Scythe comes up, leaping forward. How many tokens do you want to spend?
2.
2. Go ahead and roll
7.
a 7. Now, that's not a good roll, but you can bump it up to an 8 if you want to spend a bond.
But didn't I add 2? Because
Oh yeah, so it's a
plus
9.
2.
Okay, I'm sorry. I thought you said 7. So you get to choose 2 from that 8 to 10 range there.
Sorry, one second. I had the mystery key open instead of
Yeah.
mine. Well, I think I'm going to give my allies a golden opportunity. And I will do that for Beelzebub.
Okay.
And I think I will inflict 2 conditions on them and take obsessed.
Okay. So you go rushing at them, side out, you slash through those tentacles. It roars, keeping one hand on the painting, even as it gets sliced and is trying to hang on, and then like a whip as the tentacles extend out, and it smashes you back against the wall there, and you like get up because you want to get him, but it is badly injured. Okay. Samson, what do you do?
I think I'm going to focus all of my pain and longing into opening up the gateway so that the voices of the dead confront Vex and causing them the confusion that I feel.
So that feels like we're still unleashing the dark, like you are still trying to inflict your will there.
Yes. And I think I'm trying to be vicious.
Okay.
So I'm going to take a couple of darkness tokens in order to use with this roll. And let's see what that looks like. That's a 12.
That is a 12. So choose one.
And I think the right thing for the story is confuse them for some time.
Okay.
Yeah.
Like I think that does suddenly they're reeling from the pain of Vane's strike on them. They're trying to orient themselves. The space is not working for them, and it will like drive them back. They will whip out their tentacles and strike at you. You will mark a condition. And I think doing this, channeling the dead like this in an offensive way, I think you're going to mark 2 ruin.
Okay.
Cetus, what do you do? This thing has been badly wounded. It's still got a hold of that painting. It's trying to turn. It's trying to keep this like intact. What do you do?
I think. Oops, am I unmuted? Yes, I'm unmuted. I think it's a telepathic attack.
Okay.
With the voice of Bella, and the voice of Bella and it's attempting to dominate him into dropping the painting somehow.
Okay.
That's that's my dollhouse, she says. How dare you? Something like that. So some kind of mind blasty telepathic attack in that way.
So you're trying to get the painting, you're trying to shut the door, kind of?
Right.
Okay. Let's power through darkness for that.
Okay, so Power Through Darkness is the basic move that's on this tab that I'm now looking at. Okay, all right, and I will. What do I have? I think I have 2. I think
Okay.
I'll use 2.
Let's have you roll.
All right. Oh, we're almost there. Ooh, it's a 7.
Do you want to mark a bond?
Sure. I think I have a bond. Coming backwards. I think I feel empowered. I'll use my bond with Beelzebub because something about his running amok really empowered me to be very aggressive.
So you push that telepathic force through the Kraken's mind, and I think that the voice of Bella runs through him, and I think that pushes the song out of his head. And the song is part of what was pulling this door open, was increasing the breach, and that sort of specter of Bella and Bella's connection to that door. Like the painting drops, and you can feel the door shut. It hasn't been shut in 40 years, but now it slams shut there. Beelzebub. How do you finish Vex off?
So I have a weird question, and
Yeah.
I also don't want to, because we're getting late. So if this is a little, but
Sure.
the darkness demands that I consume what lies beyond Doom's door.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm kind of wondering if I'm torn between here.
Well, it's up to you.
So here's what I think. Tell me if you're cool with this.
Okay.
Everybody. So I think I am. I'm tempted by what the darkness demands of me. I'm making a choice. And I'm going to choose to spend a bond with someone. And this will feed into what I then do next to sort of
Okay.
finish them off.
Who is it that centers you and keeps you from like trying to rip that door back open?
So I think it's Samson.
Okay.
First of all, because he's the only, I need to make some bonds with other folks. But I think I look at Samson, I make eye contact as I'm like feeling that hunger again. I was sated before, and now I'm starting. The darkness is like, you've got to pull that door open and get in there and devour what you find. And I make eye contact with Samson, right? And I think Samson, how do you sort of like remind me of the mission? Like, do you say something? Do you make a gesture?
Yeah. I think I tell you, this is what we were talking about before. The door will consume you unless you close it now.
Sure. And I think what I do is is there a die roll here, or should I just narrate
No,
what
I
I'm
just need
doing?
you to narrate how you finish Vex off, how
Yeah,
you deal with this.
I think I think I think I think I just I haven't used this power yet. I think it's my haunting aura, right? Because Cetus was invoking sort of like Bella's ownership of the house and the painting and everything, right, against Vex. And I think I have my haunting aura just kind of radiates that sense of like loss and which is easy for me, right, and just like radiates it out to sort of break the last of this harbinger spirit.
And I think it's that hits, and there's a moment when the Vex turns, and like you see in its eyes that the story that's being told is it will never hear that song again.
Mm-hmm.
And then it turns to stone and then crumbles to the ground. And then you all are back in that lab, and all of the howling and noises of those howlers and all of the sound of this complex, there have been things moving in here. It's quiet. The door is shut. You look around. You don't see the professor. You don't see the howlers. It's closed. And I imagine it's the maybe a somber walk as the four of you head back up and out and out into the sleeting rain that's happening out there as you go through those doors. Maybe you push the panel to have the big concrete bunker things come shut, and we can see the black chopper coming down to pick you up. And that's where we're done for the case. We will start out next session with kind of like a decompression from this, a chance for you all to see, what it's like after a mission and division, for all of you to talk with one another about your feelings about what happened, all of that kind of thing. That'll be at the start. Right now, we're going to do end of session check-ins for the individual questions, and then the group questions for XP. Did anybody fill up their ruin track?
I will at the end of these questions by not having grasped the key.
Okay. Absolutely. And you can make those choices. We'll check in with that on next time. So let's go to situational moves. There aren't that many moves, but there are a lot of tabs. So end of session. Let's start with Stephen. Stephen, did you hit your personal XP question on your playbook?
Let's see. That was somewhere. Oh, I had to scroll up. Did you give in to an unseemly, improper, or indiscreet desire of your heart? I'm not sure that I did.
I think you were describing calling on that spirit of the dead is not a great or pleasant thing, right?
True. Yes. Okay.
Yeah. I think you described that as being vicious and maybe kind of counter to that. So let's give you points for that. Did you express your monstrous nature and or your humanity?
I think I expressed my humanity in the discussion that I had with Beelzebub after he had reached his breaking point.
Absolutely. Mark a point for that. Did you learn something significant about a fellow monster?
I learned what happens whenever you break.
I think that's fair. I think that vision is fair, and anyone can claim that one. And did you learn something significant about yourself and or your impending ruin? We didn't hit that one.
Okay. Well, it's kind of double dipping, but I was going to say whenever the chips come down, I'm willing to sacrifice and use my powers in order to complete the mission.
Yeah, I think that's fair. I think that's a fair thing. So do that. And you did uncover a key, so you don't have to mark ruin. Beelzebub, did you definitely hit your playbook one? You're muted. You are muted, Jesse.
Gave in to my hunger at the worst possible moment. Yes.
Yep. Okay. Did you express your monstrous nature? I don't even need to read that question any further. Please mark an XP.
Yep.
Did you learn something significant about yourself and or your impending ruin?
Oh, very much so. I learned what happened when I hit my breaking point. And it was both awful and wonderful.
So mark an XP. Did you learn something significant about a fellow monster?
I learned that Cetus has a behind some of that childlike wonder is also maybe even a childlike cruelty.
Oh, nice way to put that.
So yeah.
And you didn't get a key this time, so you get to mark a ruin.
I filled all of my tracks.
Okay. And you'll be able to clear that track and take one of those picks. We'll do that next time. Vane, did you hit your playbook?
Yes, I think with the picking the fight with the angel.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Did you express your monstrous nature and or your humanity?
I expressed my monstrous nature.
Okay. Yeah. Definitely the destruction and all of that, mark an XP. Do you
Okay.
think you learned something significant about yourself and or your impending ruin?
I don't think I did.
Here's a question I have for you. I think we did learn something, like you kept sass talking the angel. You kept picking that fight. But when push came to shove, like you didn't attack the angel.
That's
Like
true.
what was it, like what was it that held you back from like taking that opportunity to tear into them?
I don't know. I'm gonna have to think about that. But
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
okay. Yeah.
Mark an
Okay.
XP for that, because I do think
Okay.
that maybe there's a surprising realization there.
Okay. Fair enough.
And did you learn something significant about a fellow monster?
Yes, I learned Beelzebub is fucking scary when he gives
Yes.
into his hunger. So yes.
So mark an XP, and
Okay.
you also mark one ruin.
I mark a ruin?
Yep.
Okay.
Cetus, did you hit your playbook question?
I think I did. Did you use the emotions or memories of another to create a cruel advantage? I think in that final scene, using Bella's voice might have
Yeah.
fulfilled that one.
Did you express your monstrous nature and or your humanity?
Oh, sure. I think definitely my humanity, my interest in the dollhouse and the memories that first brought me towards the dollhouse, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and
Yeah,
yeah,
mark an XP. Did you learn something significant about yourself and or your impending ruin?
I think that recovering the memory of destroying Bella in the dream
Yeah.
is something significant about kind of my, yeah, something about my callousness when I was before my reawakening.
And did you learn something significant about a fellow monster?
I learned how delicious it is to watch Beelzebub eat a fish man.
Okay. There is that, to mark that XP. So I would like to do a quick stars and wishes, if you don't mind. Again, stars being things that you liked, wishes being things you'd like to see down the road, more of or less of. This mystery was kind of a like a what is that? Like it's like a closed room kind of mystery in some ways, and what we'll go to next time, probably open it up a little more broadly to have some more range of motion, as it were. Stephen, can I start with you?
Sure. This session was really, really good. Stars all around. I really enjoyed seeing, as much as we saw of Beelzebub with, him eating the fish man and everyone had, very key points. I don't want to steal things from everyone. I was very surprised whenever Cetus spoke in Bella's voice. That was a very good call. Um, and uh, so let's see, wishes wise. Um, the one thing I was confused about once we did it, I saw how it worked,
Mm-hmm.
was how to, what's the move called? How to unlock Doom's door.
Mm-hmm.
That it's kind of a group thing as opposed to an individual move. I'd almost take that move and move it to the situational moves tab,
That's a
just
good
to
point.
kind of keep it off to the side. Yeah,
Yeah, that's a good point.
that's it.
I think that is a fair point. Jesse?
Yeah, so many stars. People were awesome. Lowell, I wanna give you a star for tutorializing us through this first mission. Uh, I thought you did, and I think I actually I especially want to spotlight just something you did that I thought was really good as a GM. When there was that little kind of PvP or character versus character moment, I don't think any of the players were ever at odds, but
Mm-hmm.
like adjudicating that I felt like was kind of challenging. And I had like a brief moment in the middle where I'm like, I don't know, I was trying to do a thing, but then like I got caught, but then like I feel like you gave everyone who had stakes in the scene an opportunity to act and have agency. And like my concern was alleviated immediately. Like
Mhm.
you really you gave me the chance to do the thing to do something cool while also letting it was just that was a very tricky thing to do, and you it was great. So thank you, and big stars for that. I really appreciate how you handled that. And then in terms of character moments, I want to give a big a star to Kat, because those the for the way that like again you played Vane with this sort of like indifference to the world around them, and like it's especially like door, maybe hell's on the other side of that door, right? I'm going to go for that, right? That I thought was just really wonderful. So big star there. Everyone else did great stuff too, but I can't talk all night.
Yeah.
Wishes, or I could, but I shouldn't. Wishes are I'm excited for the downtime, kind of some of those moments of quiet moments of intimacy. Um, uh, I'm thinking through like the rune moves I can take, and they're all about like intimate moments with other PCs. So I'm excited to figure out what I do and then do that. I think that'll be fun, and to what's our life like in Division, and how do we hang out with each other and other people. Yeah.
Awesome. Kat?
Stars all around. I mean, to Beelzebub for, I know I'm probably not saying it quite right each time, but I thought that when the jaw was unhinging and just the sort of horrific vision of that was really well done. I also thought Cetus did a nice job of kind of bringing in this kind of quiet edge of menace to the kind of the childlike kind of character. And I love the way that Samson continues to pursue the dead, and just kind of keep that as his motion. I'm also looking forward to downtime, and because I do like the moments where we're kind of back at the base and figuring stuff out. I think that'll be a lot of fun. But also kudos to Lowell, because it's a lovely atmospheric game, and I just so many nice details. So.
Yeah, one of the things I think we'll try and definitely do is like daily life. We'll figure out who some of the other NPCs are in our
Fun.
division. Like everybody will have a chance to do that. So maybe keep that in mind, that we'll have everybody get a chance to add another NPC to our sort of roster of things.
Excellent. Okay.
And Jose.
Yeah, stars. Let's see. Stars to Vane for just continuing the Rhino charge through every scene, which really creates a lot of momentum and dynamism to every scene when we start talking too much. I'm bored. Let's get going. And that feels really good. It creates a lot of forward momentum. Stephen, I really like it when you give everybody orders. I think Samson is very much a bossy a death figure, and that's kind of cool. And so keeping us in, and also it seemed like that role that you were taking vis-a-vis Beelzebub to be kind of the anchor, or the one that brings him back, was great. And then Jesse, I love the scenes between our characters with the dollhouse, but also the feeding, and then making fun of the angel and stuff like that. That was a lot of fun. Lowell, what everyone else has said about making the tutorial so informative and fun. And my favorite scene that you narrated was the ripping off of Goromel's arm to expose the door, I guess it was what it was, and also stepping us through the theorized move or whatever, I can't remember what it's called, but that one, so I could see how it's different from anything else that I've seen in other games, but it's also similar.
Yeah.
And so wishes, I am also looking forward to downtime and being able to have some more character time. I think Vane and Cetus really haven't had any time together, so I'm looking forward to that, and also just to see a little bit more about our daily life as we go forward.
Okay, that sounds great. I really enjoyed it. Like I'm glad they was able to bring back things like the dollhouse being smashed and reincorporate that. There was a lot of good stuff everybody gave me, good materials and things. It was the first time I'd seen the everybody mark the full conditions like that. That's the first time I'd seen that. So that was an interesting, a good thing to see that mechanic in play. I'm going to stop the recording.